This is your host, Anthony Tank Mansfield, and with you today is
Laney.
and this is What You Into.
What you into? What you into?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the basement, and a big welcome back to the basement to my buddy Laney. Dude, what's going on? How are you?
I'm doing well.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it here a little bit later on in the episode, but at some point you might hear me refer to him as G or Captain G. That was former roller derby referee named Captain Gorgeous right there. Or maybe still referee. Have you hung up the stripes, or are they still...
I haven't officially retired, and you know how derby is weird. When you retire, sometimes you just kind of fade away. Sometimes you make a big announcement. But the last game that I actually worked was February or March of 2020.
Oh, so it was like pre-Panorama.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were in Louisville, Derby City, whoever they were playing. And the refs at that time were talking about, hey, we may need you for the next game. We may not, because with everything going on, we don't know if we're going to have games. Mm-hmm. And then about a week later, I got an email saying the season's been suspended.
Yeah.
So I haven't officially hung it up, but other interests, such as riding motorcycles, is a lot more fun. Yeah, I'm still on wheels, but
I think that happened to a fair number of people where, like, they were doing their usual thing, life was normal, and then everything in 2020 hit with the pandemic, and then it, like, a lot of people's hobbies and collections went on pause, and they started other ones. I know that happened to me. I remember I got my blue belt in jiu-jitsu like a week before we got grounded by the state, and I was like, oh, okay, this would be cool. And then just, I tried going back, but like a year and a half later, and it wasn't working. My skills were not what they were. My health was not what it was, and I was just like, man, I'm just gonna do something else now, And it sounds like kind of a similar thing where it's like you didn't officially hang it up at the same time. It's just your life changed, other things came into it, and then that just kind of faded.
Yeah, priorities shifted a little bit, interests shifted. The band that I have, we were on pause as well, because you can't go out and play in bars because everyone's closed down.
Right.
And we couldn't even rehearse, because we were trying to figure everything out, because back then, hey, give us 2 months, 2 weeks, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And as we know, it turned into a lot of that. And then several of the members got COVID.
Yep.
And so basically the band was on a hiatus for all of 2020.
Yeah.
And then things started to pick up in 21, but a lot of venues still weren't booking live entertainment.
21 was a weird transition year.
Yeah, we had some festivals lined up, and then got emails or phone calls from promoters saying festivals canceled because there's an outbreak of COVID, or it's surging in our area, or we just can't get the insurance for it. So in 21, towards the end, well, actually in the spring when all this was going on, during COVID, you can ride a motorcycle and not get exposed, as it were.
Yeah.
Because you're by yourself.
You're by yourself.
Right. So in 21, I decided, you know what? I haven't had a good running bike for a while. I'm going to start looking for a bike.
All right.
Yeah.
Get you back in? All
Get
right.
me back in, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, hey, before we get into all this, let me do this real quick. Let's get some housekeeping out of the way on the front end. Companion episodes for this episode, episode number 6. You were a guest in one of the first 10 guests to ever appear on the show. Episode 6, The Gong That Got Away with Laney. And also, if you're looking for a motorcycle episode, 2 episodes later, episode 8, Monkeys in the Death Machine with Danny Gamble, is all about primarily Japanese race bikes and him being into motorcycle racing as a sport. So both good episodes to go back and check out. You can find me on social media at @NeilToNoOne on Instagram. My link tree is there. I'll take you to everything else. If you want to check out what Lee's doing, you can find him online at the Everyday People Band and also the everydaypeopleband.com. And just catch them when they're out. They're a fun band. I always have a blast seeing you guys. You're a huge band with a wide range of music that you pull from.
Yeah, 9-piece, 3 horns, two singers, four-piece rhythm section, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Stevie Wonder, Bruno Mars. But it's funk, dance, Motown, or the rolling rink soundtrack that you grew up with.
Nice. Yeah, that's a nice elevator pitch for it. It's like, you remember going to a roller rink when you were a kid? Yeah, remember what they played? Yep, that's what we play.
Yeah.
Yeah, only the hits. You're gonna dance.
Right. Remember that one slow song? You finally asked the girl to do the slow skate with you? Mm-hmm. She said no, but we're still playing the song.
Well, I think that's a perfect way to jump into opening segment tonight. We talked a little bit about it before, but life as a roller derby referee, that's how you and I met. So we were both doing the derby thing at the same time. Of course, we weren't skaters. We were in a support role.
Right.
I was an announcer. You were a ref. How didn't you like find out about it at a costume party or something? Like, how did this come to be?
A former CRG skater was my dental hygienist, and I was in the chair for a checkup, and she's asking, what'd you do for Christmas? And she's telling me what she did for Christmas. What'd you get? And she's told me I got a bobblehead of myself, and I mumbled, why would somebody get a hygienist bobblehead? Not that it's a bad thing, but it's just so obscure.
It's a weird thing.
Yeah. I mean, every occupation can be a bobblehead, I guess. And she's like, no, I'm one of the roller girls. And I've got the thing, and I'm like, oh, that's great. My girlfriend and I have been wanting to get involved. We actually dressed as roller derby skaters and referee several years ago for a Halloween costume. And she's like, oh, we saw those photos. And so she told me about orientation coming up for volunteers, and we went and ran away with the circus after that.
100% exactly what it is once you join up, it is very circusy in the fact that it becomes your social circle, and just so much of your time is spent with it. I mean, with me, doing announcer stuff, at that point, it was basically just like I'd show up, like once a month kind of thing. But you were involved in the level of reffing, which, like when I was coaching, is more like, hey, that's 3 to 4 nights a week where you're out of the house, and not the greatest hours either. It's like second shift kind of time where you're at the rink.
Yeah, it's your job after your job. And we didn't realize just how consuming it would become, or how consuming we would let it become. And I think for us, it was easy to let it become consuming because we were having so much fun. It was something that we could do as a couple, and we were making really good friends with what I call the athletic carnies.
Yeah, I agree with you on that as well. I feel like it definitely becomes a social circle that you're in, and it's kind of one of those things where like you're traveling with it and you're staying in hotels. People, like, for a while, you and I were like pretty constant like travel buddies. We'd room together, room with Jen, and I was like, oh, cool. Like, these are my people that I ride in the car with, I get food with and stuff. And you just end up becoming friends of it. Even now, even though we're no longer involved, we're both still friends, which was a cool way to meet.
Yeah, it's sort of like come for the experience and leave with the friendships.
Yeah, I think that's a healthy way to look at it on the way out. I know some people have like left and then they cut out all contact, and I feel like that's weird because it's like, well, it's not an all or nothing thing. But then I've also seen people that get upset after they leave, and they're like, well, why isn't anybody calling me? Why isn't anybody hanging out? It's like, well, remember when you were doing that thing where you were going to it 3 to 4 nights a week? They're still doing that thing they go to 3 to 4 nights a week. Like they don't think to call you just because they're still in that world. And so I've met various people that have left roller derby, and it's always interesting to see where they are like 6 months to a year later. Like, are they thriving? Are they bitter? Like, what and what they thought that them going away would be.
Yeah, I think it's because what is derby to you when it comes into your world? You know, Jennifer and I, we started in '09, and we were a few months away from our 39th birthday. So we weren't as young as some of the skaters who are in their 20s. So we had about an extra decade of life experience, and it doesn't mean we were more mature by any means, because as you said, we've roomed together in after parties.
Yeah.
But it was perfect for us because, like I said, we got out of it a great experience as a couple. And I know a lot of people get introduced to derby at a difficult point in their life, or maybe they're having issues with their career and jobs not going well, and it becomes an outlet for them, and they're able to cope with some of the everyday stresses. And when they leave derby, maybe they still have those stresses, but they don't have that coping mechanism anymore, and they don't have that support group.
Yeah, yeah, and I agree with that. Like that is a thing where it's just like it becomes like, well, how do I make friends again? Because I think it's another thing too. You go from being in like this big social circle, and then all of a sudden now you're out of it, and you're like, oh, I don't have the status that I once had in it. But now where do I make new friends at? And making friends after like age 30 is miserable. I mean, or even after like your late 20s, it's so hard to meet new people and become friends.
Yeah, it's I joke that Derby is the athletic carnies or the island of misfit toys. And so you have that commonality that kind of brings you together. But now if you're out, quote, in the wild, in real life, you think, I don't really want to find out what I have in common with these other people. You know, it's too much work.
Yeah.
Or it can be.
What was it? What was it like being in the one support position where you get booed? Like everybody else gets treated pretty well, but the refs definitely get some shit from the fans. What was that like?
It didn't bother me. I mean, I don't mind hearing it. It didn't ruffle my feathers. It never got under my skin. Even with some of the coaches who would argue and throw tantrums. I mean, I'm mildly arrogant. I mean, I called myself Captain Gorgeous. So you have to have a little humor about yourself. You take it seriously, but you don't take yourself seriously or too seriously. And the boos were fine. It was expected. I boo referees when I go to the hockey game. But at the after party, there were no boos.
Which is nice, which is helpful.
Yeah, it was all hugs and high fives. Thank you. You know, every now and then, man, that call on me was bullshit.
Right,
but
right.
I know you guys are doing. So everything that we dealt with during the games was easy to deal with because of the treatment we had at the after parties or at practice days, people talking to us, including us on social events or, hey, we're going to go grab lunch after practice. You guys should come. The fact that we were not made to feel like we were outsiders.
Okay. So you're able to compartmentalize it and be like, okay, this is happening for this reason. And it stays here. And everybody outside of this box is gonna be pretty cool, but when it's game day to be expected.
Right.
Okay. Okay. I could get with that. I don't know, man. I would definitely have my feelings hurt if I was being yelled at, especially unjustly. Like I would have a hard time with that if I was getting yelled at by some coach, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? I would have a real hard time, like not losing in that moment.
Yeah. There was one coach in particular, and I saw a clip of where they had the referees for hockey mic'd up. And this hockey player was giving the ref a hard time. And I don't remember what the hockey player said, but I do remember the referee, as he's putting him in the penalty box, he's like, I'm smart enough to know that I can't play hockey. You need to be smart enough to know you can't referee it. So I used that on one of the coaches once. Yeah. Yeah.
How did that go over?
Stunned silence for a few seconds. So to me, that was a success.
Yeah, it's a very nice big win.
Yeah. I'm sure there was a complaint afterward, though.
Yeah, whatever.
But whatever.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Add it to the stack.
What was the camaraderie like amongst the other referees? Like, what was it like hanging out pregame, postgame, in the locker room together?
That was a little bit different because you could tell, like visiting refs, they would talk about, hey, we hear that this is going on or that's going on with your skaters, or they got this new maneuver. There was a little shop talk about what are we going to be looking for? Are they trying, especially like a grudge match? You know, these two teams, they've met so many times over so many years or whatever, or this person is now dating so-and-so's ex.
There's history.
Yeah, if there was a personal history, that type of conversation would come up quite a bit. I got along really well, at least I thought I did, with my fellow referees from the different cities and going to the conventions. I didn't feel as close to them as I did the skaters, but it's not because of their personalities or maybe my personality. I think it's just because, as you had mentioned, it's so encompassing. You're doing it 3 to 4 nights a week. I'm seeing the skaters 3 to 4 nights a week. I'm spending more time with them than just about anybody else who I'm not related to, or Jen, who I'm in a relationship with.
Right.
So you just naturally develop stronger relationships.
Yeah.
With the people you're around, or you hate them more.
Yeah, one of the two. Well, you're spending more time with people, so the
Yeah.
things you like about them, you get more of that. The things you dislike about them, you get a lot more of that.
Yeah.
I always felt somewhere like I definitely liked hanging out with the team, but I also liked hanging out with the announcers a lot because on the whole, we were all very similar in the fact that most of us were we were weird and we were chatty and we joked. That was like a huge thing, was like everybody busting balls and all this kind of stuff. And I always had fun meeting those people because I was like, it was rare to meet people like that and to get to work with them and stuff. So I was like, all right, cool. And I never really felt like I was ever put in a spot where like, oh, they're the bad guys and they're coming in here, or like I'm the bad guy when I traveled. I just always felt like it was like, oh, cool, man. Now we're friends and we're buddies now.
Yeah.
And this is great. Every once in a while I run into somebody who was not on that wavelength, and that was weird. But yeah, for the most part, everybody was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned making the jokes and everything. When I first started with Derby, the skaters gave me an additional nickname, Captain Overzealous, and I rightfully earned it. And so I tried to loosen up a little bit, especially because they had the certification program. And my first certification feedback, it said, basically too rigid, needs to loosen up. Evidently, some other teams had sent that in. So I did try to loosen up. The very next cycle makes too many jokes. He needs to be more serious. And it's like, okay. So
Yeah, no, you can't. There's never a time when you're not doing something wrong.
right. It's like,
Yeah. You're constantly fucking this up, and you're willing to do it for free, so we're gonna keep you around.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Before we get off this, you talked about it a little bit earlier with us being on the road together and stuff. I feel like Derby Party, like the after party stuff now, pretty tame. And it's weird because, I'm sitting at it. I'm like, I'm in my 40s and I see these like people that are in their 20s. I'm like, they're going to cut loose. Nope. Everybody's just kind of sitting around chilling. And I'm just like, is this just in our local area, or is this all roller derby teams now? Because I remember when I started back in like 06, 07, and I remember like one of our players had her buddy come to the house who was who did airbrush boob paint jobs, and everybody got drunk and ended up getting like their chest airbrushed. And I'm just like, yeah, man, this would not fly today. Like there would not be some guy from Ozfest spray painting like a bunch of boobs in my living room.
Yeah, I think that's the evolution of the sport, where it was so, I don't say grassroots, but so detached from mainstream
Sports,
entertainment,
just life
like,
in general.
Yeah, this is our thing. This is our, going back to my Carney statement. This is our Carney environment, and then because you had the penalty wheel and the penalty mistress back then. That's what kind of opened my eyes. I'm like, I might want to do this. But I think as the athleticism was focused more, not so much the sideshow aspect of it. And I won't say it wasn't legitimate before, but they were trying to mainstream it. The skaters adjusting the rules and the gameplay.
Yeah.
And I think that brings in more of the competitive nature. And then I think that translates to what you're saying. The after party started taming down because the last few years, I think the after parties were just a pizza party.
Right. Yeah. And I never put it together until you just walked me through it right there. Cause I'm thinking back, I'm like, yeah, in 2005, 2006, we were like literally recruiting from like punk rock bars. Like if we saw a woman that had like a half sleeve, we would instantly hand her a card and be like, hey, you should come out and like play roller derby, or, any kind of like facial piercings, color hair, anything like that, and it was just, it was a lot of it was like chicks that hung out at bars that drank and smoked. And, trying to do that today, it's just, 20 years, almost 20 years later, that's almost impossible to do. I can't imagine like somebody smoking like a pack a day and then going and playing in modern roller derby. Of course, someone out there is doing it. But on the whole, I don't see it working out.
Yeah, not unless they start doing outlaw derby.
Yeah. I really do think it, like maybe beer league. Do they have like a beer league hockey, beer league roller derby? Yeah, something like that where maybe, it's a little easier. But yeah, as far as like the main modern version of the sport goes, yeah, it definitely is more athlete focused now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's do this. Let's switch over to life afterwards. Getting into bikes, man. So, like, when did you first get into motorcycles?
So it actually started in the 70s when I was a kid. And I wasn't riding. My great uncle had a independent shop in Hebron, Kentucky.
Okay.
And his house and his mother's house, my great grandmother, were on the same plot of land out there. And we would go visit her. And he had, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 dozen motorcycles out back, little dirt bike stuff that he was buying for parts or to fix up and sell. And so my brother and I, when we would go outside, we just play on these dirt bikes, sitting on, pretending we're riding dirt bikes in the woods or doing dirt bike races, and just really got fascinated with the idea of motorcycles at that point. And then in the early 80s, my parents got into riding.
Okay.
And so my mom and dad bought bikes, and we would do like little trips up to like Marietta, Ohio, or something like that. My brother and I were on the back of our folks' bikes, and then as soon as I could, my mom taught me how to ride a bike. Took me up to a parking lot not far from the house, and spent, I don't know, a couple hours there, and next thing I know, she's like, okay, let's go down on Route 8. And it's like, Mom, and for those who don't know, Route 8 is just mile after mile of broken pavement, shoulder sliding, drops. And it's just terrifying if you've never ridden a motorcycle on a street. So we rode through town for a few minutes and then down on Route 8, and she takes off and I'm doing like 20 miles an hour. Like, I think my blinker was on, like waving people by. But yeah, I got into bikes, got interested in them when I was a kid, just sitting on a broken dirt bike at my great grandmother's house.
That's awesome, man. Can we talk about the whole learning process? Because this is the part that's just, even this part intimidates me, of like learning how to ride a bike. Like, I get it. You go to an empty parking lot, but then how do you figure out to not just instantly wreck this thing? Because I remember like learning how to ride a 2-wheel bike. The first few times I still dropped it. Like, how do you avoid this?
Well, I learned to drive a car on a stick shift.
Okay.
So I had background in driving a stick. I think all the vehicles we had at the time were still stick shifts. Maybe one, I think my dad's car was an automatic. But so I was familiar with managing clutch and gas. You have a little bit of knowledge of what a motor sounds like when it's not getting enough fuel and it's starting to lug, or you're revving it too high and you don't. So I had that little bit of experience. And it also helped that I was, let's see, I was probably 5'10", whatever height I was when I was 16, and I'm on a little 200 motorcycle. So the bike didn't weigh much more than me.
Okay.
So, and you just gradually let the clutch out and don't give it too much gas. And you just go in a straight line for, I don't know, 20, 30 feet, pull the clutch in because you are too scared to shift. And so you do that 4 or 5 times, and your mom's yelling at you, you got to shift, you got to shift.
Is it like trying to balance like an oversized bicycle? Like, what is that like, trying to keep it on 2 wheels?
If you can ride a bicycle, you can ride a motorcycle.
Okay.
And I think some people get intimidated by, okay, now this thing weighs a couple 100 pounds. It's got an engine on it. It's unwieldy. But I think if anyone's ever ridden a moped or a scooter, the transition is that much easier, just so it's not as foreign.
I also think it's interesting that you were smart enough, or your mom was smart enough, to start you out on like a smaller bike. Because that always blows my mind. People are like, I'm going to get into bikes, and they go out and they buy like some kind of like sports bike that's has, like some ridiculous amount of horsepower. It's like, what are you doing? Like, you should not be learning how to ride on that thing.
Yeah, it's thanks to the internet, you can watch all kinds of clips of people who buy way more bike than they need or can handle or know how to maneuver or operate, and there's their buddy off to the side taping them, and they're like, watch this, and they pull out in the traffic and hit a parked car.
Yeah. Have you ever like had that thing where you were like, I want like a very huge monster bike, or like I want something that has a bunch of horsepower, or you've always kind of been more like, I'm kind of here to cruise and hang out?
I appreciate speed and I appreciate power, but I am not a speed demon. I've gotten on sport bikes before of friends and taken them out on a highway and opened them up, and it's like, okay, that was cool, but feeling a bike pull out from underneath you, as it were, feeling that horsepower and
Oh
that
yeah.
torque and everything, that's enough for me. I appreciate it, but I'm too chicken shit to be in triple digits a lot.
Yeah, which that scares the hell out of me. Which was something we were talking about when Danny was on the show. And Danny was talking about like going from here to like Louisville and doing like over 100 the entire way. And I'm just so you're just like dodging out of cars. He's like, yeah, it's like it was great. And I'm just like in my head, it's the speeder bike scene from fucking Jedi when they're in the forest. I'm like,
Right.
you zig when you should have zagged. You got a major problem on your hands at this point. And so like that's always freaked me out too. Is like I don't mind driving a car too fast because there's definitely a difference between being inside of a vehicle with a windshield as opposed to being on something like a boat or something else with like an open top, where you're actually feeling wind and how fast you're moving, and that can get scary.
Yeah, on a bike you're completely exposed.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can wear all the gear and all that, and there are airbag vests and whatnot you can wear, but at a certain point, speed kills. And not to use a cliche, but it's
It's
just
true.
it's true.
It's
And
reality.
you go down, you start tumbling. It's not hard to control your body when you're tumbling at 90 miles an hour. You end up broken everything. Snap your neck. It doesn't matter how great your helmet is. Neck snaps, you're done.
Right.
But I ride to relax, to chill out. Do I like to go fast every now and then? Yeah. Have I had this bike over 100 a few times? Sure. But it's not cruising at 100 for a long time. It's the highway is wide open. There's nobody in front of me. There's nobody really behind me. Let's hit 100.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's hit 100.
Yeah, let's have some fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, with we talking about like gear and stuff. Like, what do you wear? Like what's your usual loadout like?
So what I'm wearing right now is typically what I wear when I ride. The boots are waterproof. They're reinforced. There's over the ankle. There are inserts to protect the ankles. They zip up. They lace up so they're super tight. So if I knock on wood, God forbid, something happens, my shoes don't get knocked off.
Okay.
Full grain leather, reinforced on the toe caps. The jeans I'm wearing, they're a heavy denim. They're lined with a aramid, which I can't remember if it's a type of Kevlar or Kevlar adjacent. There's padding in the knees. They're supposed to be hip pads, but I'm too fat for hip pads.
You're like let's get these out of here.
Yeah. Have you seen my hips? Come on.
I mean, it's like in the NFL running backs are like, yeah, man, I'm not putting those in.
Right. Yeah. And I've got a wicking t-shirt on underneath my sweatshirt. I wear a full leather jacket that has armor in it as well on the shoulders, the back pad, and the elbows. I wear a full face helmet, I- leather riding gloves. If it's cool, I wear a lighter version. If it's colder, I wear a heavier version of the gloves.
Man, there's so much stuff I want to get into here. First off, the whole thing about not getting your shoes knocked off. I did not think about that until you said it, and I'm like, yeah, no, you don't want your feet just like flipping around if you've fallen,
Right.
Like, and God knows what kind of weather you're out in. On top of that, but just you just don't want like you're tumbling along the asphalt and like your foot clips the. You want some protection.
Yeah, if you go down, it's very easy to get your shoes or your boots knocked off. The boots I used to wear were your traditional engineer boot, what everyone calls Harley boots. They just slip on, and they slip right off. So if you're going down, you want to try to keep as much gear on you as possible.
That makes 100% sense. What about, and then talking about like the jacket now with armor, I also think that's a fascinating thing that we're to this point now where armor, like, is now being worked into the jackets. I know it's been a while now, but at the same time, like growing up as a kid, like in the 80s and 90s, I don't remember it, as being like something I'd regularly see or hear people talk about.
Yeah, when I first started riding, I don't, I didn't even have boots back then. I wore high top gym shoes.
That seems like a bad idea.
Hey, it went over the ankle. Right?
Okay, fair enough.
But in my defense, it was 1986. I was also wearing, I don't know, I can't remember the pants style, but with the suspenders, and you put your suspenders down to look cool. So I wore your basic Brando style leather jacket. I wore a full face helmet. I had some thin ass leather riding gloves and wore those cheap ass pants and blue jeans. But, armor back then, if someone mentioned it, I would think of like sport bike racing,
Yeah.
or something like that. And now I'm older, and I don't want to say, I'm in my grandpa bike phase, but I want to give myself every advantage if I hit a deer, because I do ride out in the country a lot. If I hit a deer or a skunk or something, or a truck or a vehicle comes over the double yellows and I end up in a ditch, I want to try to give my body as much opportunity to survive as I can. And, it's a little bit of an adjustment. If you're used to wearing just a basic leather jacket and you put something on that has armor, it's a little bit more form fitting. And if you're a little husky, it definitely becomes more form fitting.
What with when it comes to the helmets, where currently is the conversation on that? Like, are we still at a point where pussy if you wear a helmet, or is it like more people today are like, no, having a helmet is a good thing? Like, where are we currently at that conversation in the world?
I think I'm probably the wrong person to ask that. Most of the people I ride with wear a helmet. There was a period where I was cool and did not wear a helmet. I'd keep a little half beanie strapped to the back in case I happened to meander to a state that had a helmet law. But I think for the most part, people don't get preachy or start lecturing like, oh, you should wear a helmet. Don't you care about your brain? I think most people are of the opinion, hey, man, it's your head. Do what you want. But I'm going to wear it or I'm not going to wear it.
Yeah.
And I know people who are adamant about not wearing helmets. And I know, like myself, I always wear my helmet. I topped off the gas tank on the bike one day, and literally less than a quarter mile around the block to the gas station, I didn't wear my helmet. It's like, oh, screw it. I'm just cleaning the bike. I'm going to go top it off.
Yeah.
It felt so weird. I felt naked and so unsafe. And it's like, wow, this is very, very weird.
Yeah, when like you're so used to doing it one way and then you do it the other, and it's like, whoa, okay, this is different.
Yeah, this is totally alien.
Yeah.
It was almost like a whole new experience. Well, it really was for the most part, a whole new experience, because I don't ride this bike without the helmet. So it's like, wow, okay.
Yeah. I think I think you and I both came up during that generation where like you didn't wear padding for shit. For like riding a bicycle, you would never wear a helmet or anything like that. And then we get through that period where people were like, oh, goddamn kids are wearing helmets on their bike nowadays. Why did it get so nerfed? Now I feel like we're kind of at a point where, kind of what you're saying, where people are either like, look, you can either do it or not do it, but there's a lot more people doing it because we now understand what brain trauma is. Like, we understand what concussions are. We understand how bad those are and how they affect you, And I think for me at this point, if I were to get on any kind of two-wheeled thing, I definitely want some sort of helmet. Just what you're talking about, just to give yourself the chance. If you do go forward, you go down, you end up on your head, that is a problem.
Yeah, and there's a phrase used. It's dress for the slide, not the ride. And there are photos and videos online of people with a full face helmet. They went down, they slid, even a low speed accident. They show what the helmet looks like, and one side of it is just complete abrasion. You can't tell
Just
what the
blasted,
yeah,
all the paint's off it.
yeah, it's gouged, and it's like, wow, that could have been your face.
Yeah. Yeah. And that right there, it's like, all right, this kind of resets how I'm thinking about this thing.
I mean, it gets a little uncomfortable. I mean, this helmet has a lot of vents on it, but when it's 95 degrees out, if you're sitting in traffic, you're baking, Thank God these things have removable liners so you can wash your pads. Very similar to the Derby helmets that we had.
Yeah, no, I think that also is another big thing too now is having that convenience where you can like not just have it be a stinky, sweaty mess, especially if like you're riding on a hot day in the summer. Like being able to have a nice hygiene, and yeah, I think that's a huge win.
Yeah.
Let me talk about this real quick. So, when did you feel like I understand this and I got it? And what I mean by that is like the 10,000 hour rule of where you're like you become a master at that point. But when did you like after having riding experience? How many years in was it where you're like, oh, I feel like I get this now. I feel like I'm pretty good at this.
Um, I don't I don't know if I've had that. My like I said, my uncle had that independent shop out in Hebron, and I worked for him a couple summers as a late teen, and we were talking about bikes like we always do one night, and talking about riding gear because I had come. I can't remember what I did, but I showed up. I had my helmet on. I had shorts, my jacket, and gym shoes. And he gave me all kinds of shit for having shorts on and wearing gym shoes and not the over the ankle high tops. So anyway, he said, when you ride, you should always have a little bit of fear. And the day you get on the bike and you don't have a little bit of that fear is the day you get careless and killed.
Damn,
So
that's real talk.
yeah, I'm like, all right, Uncle Bill, I just trying to make $3 an hour.
I didn't know I was gonna become a man today.
Right.
His life's harsh truths are showered upon me.
So and I really don't think I've quote mastered it. I've taken 2 advanced rider classes in the past year. The first one I took broke me of a habit that I kind of knew I had, but didn't realize how bad it was. And it wasn't a habit that was endangering my life or reckless. It was just how I would maneuver through curves. Because I've ridden with friends and I've seen them carve up curves. And it's like, wait a minute. I've ridden with you before. You don't ride like that. How are you riding like that? And like, oh, I took this class and they taught me how to look through the curve a little differently. So I did that, and it's like, okay, I obviously have more stuff to learn or can improve. And the second one I did, it was up in Columbus. It was police style riding training, and that made me realize I'm an absolute amateur.
Really?
Yeah, it's a lot of slow speed maneuvering, super tight cornering, turns, called cone work. Clone very similar to Derby how they do their exercise.
Yeah, you're just like working like a serpentine pattern through like a
Right.
tight set of parking cones.
Yeah, and you're looking at these cones like there's no way a bike can get through there on a turn. And then obviously the instructor who knows how to do this, he does it zip zip up and back. And he's like, I couldn't even do it half that speed.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I feel confident in being able to ride, but I don't consider myself a master of it. And it's like I still have that slight bit of apprehension, Uncle Bill's fear that he talked about. But I'm not scared when I ride. I just have that cautious apprehension still.
I like the idea that you can like level up skill level in this. Like that's very cool. That's cool that there are classes available and things you can do to make what you do more refined and add tools to your toolkit. Yeah, I like that a lot.
It goes back to no matter what you do, there's always someone better at
Better,
it.
yeah.
And the internet has definitely shown me, oh my God, you see people doing all these great turns. And it's not stunt driving either. It's like, wow, that was a really well executed turn in a very tight spot. And you think about that, okay, I could use that navigating some of the parking lots or when traffic is really bad. Yeah.
Are you comfortable driving in the rain?
Yeah. So do we have time for a short story?
Yeah, man. Of course. That's
So-
what a podcast is.
So Jen and I'm trying to remember what year it was. Let's just say it was 2001.
Okay.
Or let's just say 2001.
The towers had just gone down. We're a nation
No,
in mourning.
it's pre because it's Memorial Day weekend.
Okay. All right. Hey,
So-
we're still America. We're all still one.
Right. So we'd been doing some stuff in the yard, doing some yard work, and again, this is on the old bike, the Harley Sportster, and also she and I are 31. We're not even 31 yet. We're a few months away. So we've done some yard work. It's a nice day, and it's like, hey, let's go for a ride. And we throw some clothes in the saddlebags. Our goal is maybe we'll go to Gatlinburg, but let's go to Lexington, get some dinner, and come back. And look at the Weather Channel, and there's rain coming. It's like, okay, if we leave right now, we can get south of it.
Okay.
And we get to Florence, and it just starts dumping on us.
Oh, shit.
And it's like, well, do we go back? We're underneath an underpass. Do we go back? Do we go home? So we adventurously went on, and it rained most of the way. We stopped at the Tennessee-Kentucky border because we were just tired. It's like we got to get a room, and we had stopped along the way. We were soaked. We bought some cheap ass rain gear from the truck stop, and it's not that thick stuff like the.
Is this during the day or at night?
Oh, by now it's night. It's night.
And so you're in dark rain at night. Dude, fuck
rain
this.
at night.
This sounds terrible.
But hey, we were adventurous. We were 30 years old and adventurous. And so we put on this rain gear. As soon as Jen steps on the foot peg to get on the bike, lifts her leg up, the whole thing splits down the middle.
Damn it.
Both of us, our leg, pant leg ripped, melted on the exhaust pipes. So, and finding a room was an adventure of itself because evidently there was some convention going on in Jericho, whatever it is, Tennessee, that all the rooms were booked except for the smokers room at the Howard Johnson at the end of the block. But so that was a lot of rain. With this bike, I'm way more confident in the rain. I don't get bothered by the rain now.
Really?
Yeah.
Does anything change with the rain or?
So this bike now, it's heavier, it's bigger, the tires are better, the geometry is better on it. It just handles. The first time I got caught in the rain, well, also this bike has a windshield. The Harley Sportster had no windshield. I was the windshield. Mm-hmm. The first time I'm slowing down. It's like, okay, let's see how this bike handles in the rain. Let's see how I handle this rain. And just tooting along, and I look down at the speedometer, and I'm doing 55. It's like, damn, this is great. So the rain doesn't bother me anymore. I ended up buying real rain gear. Over the fall, I went to visit my uncle down in Catawba, South Carolina. And the morning that I left, as I'm getting up and grabbing breakfast, he's like, well, hope you like riding in rain, because it was raining all night and it rained all day. So I got my rain gear on. I've got my leather chaps on underneath everything and take off. And so I rode in the rain a solid 6.5 hours, 330 miles, and it didn't stop raining on me until I got to West Virginia. And I'm at a truck stop, it was a truck stop, getting gas, changed my socks because these are great boots, and I'll say they're water resistant, but in torrential downpour for 6.5 hours, I don't think any footwear is going to keep your foot wet. Foot dry.
Side story, do you have a favorite truck stop?
No.
My dad is all about that Bucky's life right now, which they don't take the trucks. It's just the cars. But my God, this man is so... I've never seen somebody excited about a gas station Walmart in my life. And this man just loves it. And he loves their brisket. Whenever we talk, he's like, have you had the brisket? I'm like, I've had the brisket. He's like, it's amazing. I'm like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it, and it's like, okay, at some point, I guess maybe I should try it just so I can say, yeah, I went there. And I love a good brisket. A lot of the riding I do, it's a brisket hunt.
Really?
Not intentionally at first, because I was just riding just to ride, to make up for lost time of not being able to ride. But now, because there are so many great barbecue places in our region, it's like, okay, well, if I'm going to go to Lexington, I'm going to hit Red State Barbecue, or I'll hit Blazing Dave's. Or if someone turns me on to a new one that I haven't tried, okay, I'm going to end up there.
How do you like pick how long you're going to go out and where you're going to? I mean, do you say, I want to go to this city, or I want to go to this town, or do you set a thing? You're like, I know I want to do 100 miles on Saturday. Where can I hit in the area to make that happen? How do you plot these things?
It's usually freestyle. I just get on the bike. I pick a general direction and just head that way. If I'm heading east, I might jump on the AA highway or 52 or 50 or 32. If I'm heading south, I might pick up Kentucky 25. Now, it really is. I just pick a general direction and just go. I like to ride, if I can, about 240, 250 miles. Today, once I leave here and go home, I'll probably have about 150, 160 on the clock for today's riding.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, so you're just like taking, I don't know, I guess like 45 minutes, an hour out of your day here and there and just going around and just riding around?
Yeah, it's like today my schedule kind of opened up unexpectedly. Some things got rescheduled. It's like, well, I rode the bike to work knowing it was going to be a great day, and maybe I'll get some riding in after work and then come up here.
Yeah.
And then it just opened up. It's like, well, I'm just going to go ride. And it's like, okay, well, today I was in Covington, so where have I not ridden in a while? It's like, well, I haven't been over to Rabbit Hash in a while. So rode over that way, then rode along the river, then realized that the clock on my bike had not been updated yet. So I'm like, oh shit, I have an hour less time than I realized. I better start heading east and north. So it's just, hey, that road looks like it goes east. I'm going to go that way.
Okay.
And it's just, where does this road go?
Are you running a GPS at all at this point? Or are you just like out there just freestyling and just like, hey, I'm just going to go off the path, see what happens?
I use an app. It tracks my rides because I like to log to see where I've been and track my miles. There have been times though where I've turned down a road and there's a road in front of me and it has painted lines, but the app does not show a road at all. It's like, let's see where this road goes because evidently it's a road. It has lines.
What is it like discovering that point where you're like, oh, I'm officially off map now? Where like, do you enjoy being lost, like, or do you enjoy trying to find something? I mean, are you lost or are you finding something?
I'm always finding something. I have never been lost on the bike because I generally know I'm in a certain part of Ohio or a general part of Indiana or Kentucky. It's like, okay, if I go far enough west, I'll hit this. If I go far enough north, I'll hit this. The other reason I don't care or consider it getting lost is the fuel tank size. That thing carries 5.5 gallons. Typically, when I stop to stretch, it's at a gas station. I top off, even if I've only gone 120 miles. So, if I've gone 120 miles, I've used about 3 gallons of gas. I still got 2.5 left. If I go 100 miles, I'll still top off. So, I don't ride the tank down into I could get stranded territory.
Right.
Yeah, it's just where does the road go? And honestly, there have been a few times I've come up and the road is now a raging creek. It's like, but the GPS shows it going up the hill, and I can look up the hill. I'm like, yep, that's where the road continues. But I'm not.
But currently, nature is taking this road offline.
Yeah.
What do you end up seeing out here? Like, do you find a lot of abandoned houses when you're driving out there? Do you ever see like weird art installations when you're on like sketchy back roads? Like, what do you come across?
A little bit of everything. I bought an Insta360 camera because for two reasons. One, to document the stuff that I do see. So that I can go back and watch the video and get a better look at it. And I see a lot of wildlife, a lot of wild turkey, deer, obviously. February, for those who don't know, is skunk mating season. It's not that they pick that month. It just so happens that peak mating season for skunks is during February. And last year I noticed, man, there were a lot of dead skunks around. And the internet said, well, by the way, mating seasons during February.
This is why.
So, but I got the camera. It's the wild turkeys, the deer, the hawks, seen a bald eagle, seen 3 bald eagles. Thought that was pretty cool.
That is pretty good.
Yeah. On video though, it's a dot. But
still a trio of bald eagles.
Yeah. So I've got that. I see a lot of murals, and I've started stopping and taking photos of the bike with the murals that I find out in the middle of nowhere.
Cool.
and sometimes it's a full side of a building, whether it's an office building or an apartment complex. There are some farms down in Kentucky. They've got like half the side. It's a mural, and it's not like mail pouch tobacco murals.
Right.
It's peace, love, happiness, and
Yeah.
fun, modern stuff with bright colors. It's not the faded ghost mural stuff,
Yeah.
which is still cool. I
Yeah.
love seeing that. I do see a lot of weird buildings. I found this odd little building. It was probably 10 foot by 10 foot, had a door. I thought maybe it was a communications building for something. No antennas. It was in the middle of nowhere.
Whoa.
And I found it because I had to pee. It's like, well, this is a weird little building. I'm going to pee next to it. So,
I'm gonna be beside this really weird building right now. Man, see, that would freak me out. I would think if I'm gonna die, like this is the horror movie in which it begins, because it's like I find the strange little hut. It's in the middle of nowhere. I don't see anybody. That's prime monster
yeah.
territory.
Yeah, you start hearing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we should go.
Yeah, we need to get out of here.
Yeah, I never found out what that building was, and I would have been pissed if I had found out it was a public restroom.
Man, I really hope you find Sasquatch on your travels. I really hope that happens. Do you believe in Bigfoot? And would you like to find him?
I don't know if I believe in Bigfoot, but I believe we don't know all the animals, because you hear about, oh, a new fish was discovered or a new spider. And I understand fish and spiders, they're easier to hide, or it's easier for them to hide and not be discovered. Other than maybe Sasquatch is not 8 foot tall. Maybe Sasquatch is 8 inches tall.
It's been micro shrunk.
Bigfoot, maybe that's an interpretation error.
Yeah.
Maybe it's supposed to be Smallfoot.
I don't know. I don't think it's out there, but at the same time, I hope it's out there.
I hope it is, and I hope it's 8 inches, and I hope I didn't pee on it by that little weird building.
I hope you didn't either. Do you like riding in cities?
It doesn't bother me.
Okay.
Like downtown traffic, red light to red light, that doesn't bother me. Being on the highway does not bother me. But I gotta say that it's a little bit different because of where we are. Cincinnati, Columbus, Indianapolis, Louisville, Lexington, they're not really what I would consider a big city.
Yeah.
It's a big, small town.
Right.
So the interstate traffic on those and surrounding them is easy to navigate. Now, Chicago is totally different. The few times that I've gone up to Chicago, and I don't mind driving through Chicago or being in Chicago in the car, but I do know that I am way more defensive of a driver when I'm in Chicago, when I'm in the car.
Right.
And I imagine if I go to Chicago on the bike, I would be much more uptight.
Yeah.
And then maybe I might be a little bit nervous then.
Yeah. I especially now on the interstate, I'm very defensively driving. Just like there's just so many people that are just on their phone. It's crazy how many people you drive past and you just literally see them right hand holding the phone, left hand on the steering wheel, looking directly down. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Don't do that.
Yeah, it's with the Harley Sportster. I had been cut off by people who were distracted, cell phones, whatever they were doing, taking calls, picking their nose, whatever it was. It got to the point where I installed a mini air horn on the bike, just because the horn I had, it wasn't bad, but I needed someone to like wake the fuck up. You're weaving into my lane, get the fuck over,
Yeah.
get away from me. There were a couple times on that bike, and knock on wood, it hasn't happened yet, and I don't want to jinx it, where someone came really close to me and I had nowhere to go, so I had to kick their door to get their attention.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that scared the shit out of me. I was shaking turds out of the pants leg after that.
Damn.
Yeah. This bike, I added a secondary horn just to get a little bit more volume.
Okay. All right. Yeah. What about, like, do you listen to anything while you're on the bike, or are you just like just hearing the engine in your head all day?
Yeah, so I bought an intercom system for the bike.
Okay.
It's synced to the phone. I stream music off my phone. It's all Bluetooth. And I've got a playlist that I've put together for riding specifically. I've got some yacht rock playlists. Every now and then, it's like I just need some stoner rock. at first I was like, this is bullshit, man. I can't stand listening to music while I'm riding because, like you were saying, hearing the engine, I was so accustomed to just hearing the engine. This is interfering with how I ride. It's interfering with how I shift because it's all by feel and what I hear. I would say after my second ride, and now I gotta have the tunes. I mean, I don't say I have to have it, but I do like having it. It's at a low volume. It's just there. It's background music, no pun intended. But it's there. I still hear the bike. I still hear the engine. I still hear traffic. So
I couldn't imagine doing any kind of form of driving without music or podcast or something. Like just driving in silence is painful.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, this is very boring right now. This would be so much cooler if I could, have a soundtrack or just anything to kind of, make the voices inside my head stop. That'd be great.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to think about things. Can I please
Right.
have
Give
something
me the
to listen
distraction.
to? Yeah, give me a distraction.
The few times that I don't listen to music, leaving my uncle's place in the rain, didn't play the music. I had the phone synced in case I need to make calls because it's all voice activated. Hey Google, call Jen, whatever. And then there are a few roads that are very curvy, a lot of switchbacks and swooping type bends. If I'm not really familiar with the road, I'll turn the music all the way down or I'll turn it off just so I can focus on the route and what I need to do to maneuver. And if I notice the road has, unfortunately, a lot of people still blow their grass clippings into the street. That's a death hazard for us when we ride. It's slick as shit. And if you come around a bend and you're leaning for the bend to begin with, and all of a sudden there's grass, there's a good chance you're going to go down. You're going to slide. So if I notice that, man, a lot of people are cutting the grass today, I'll turn the music down so I can focus.
Is there anything else that is like as bad to motorcycles as grass clippings? Like is sand bad for you guys, or is anything else?
Sand is bad. Gravel is bad. Mud is bad. Dead animals.
Dead animals are bad, yeah.
Yeah. But I will say that I've ran over, whatever. I've gone over.
I have.
I have gone over.
Went through.
Dead animals a few times on this bike, and the bike didn't get squirrely. It's like, okay, well, good to know I can hit a dead animal now and not go down.
That's a nice thing to learn about yourself when you're listening to some Christopher Cross, listening to Sailing,
Yeah.
and you just smack a raccoon, and you're like, great, it stayed up.
Yeah.
This is nice.
This is sailing.
Yeah, sailing. That's what that song is about. It's about Christopher Cross hitting a raccoon on a motorcycle in the most chill way possible. Hell yeah. Oh man. All right. Where do you fall on what kind of bikes do you like? Are you a Harley guy? Do you prefer Japanese bikes? Do you like European bikes? Do you build custom bikes? Where do you fall in this world?
I appreciate all different types of bikes. Now, when it comes to riding, I prefer V-twin cruisers, V-twin 2-cylinder. I like that lopey bup 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 type sound. It's a high torque engine. It's got decent amount of horsepower, but I'm not going out for speed or anything. It's comfortable for me. It's the seating position that I like and I enjoy. It's sort of, I made the joke earlier, the grandpa bike. I can put my feet up on the highway pegs. I can relax. I do like a lot of the British bikes. I like some of the European style bikes where they had the mid controls, the scrambler style. I appreciate those, and I wouldn't mind having a few of them. But for riding as much as I do, this kind of a cruiser bike, I was a Harley guy for the longest time, and then Polaris bought the Indian brand. I think it was 2012 or 2013, and then in 2014 they debuted the new styling with the new engine. And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, that's it. I got to get one of these.
Yeah, when it comes to motorsports, Polaris is a solid name. That's a company that's tried, tested, and proven. And yeah, the Harley thing, it's interesting. I think it's interesting to see where Harley is now, because there was a time when Harley was everywhere and it was big, and now I don't see it as much. And I wonder what that looks like for bikes going forward. Because I definitely do notice a lot more of the European bikes now. Like there's a lot more people that have BMW bikes now in cities. And then just of course all the variety of like Japanese stuff that's out there.
Yeah, it's the being my age, I'm 53, and my demographic is aging out and dying out. And this demographic traditionally buys the big twin American cruisers, the Harleys, the larger Indian motorcycles. That demographic, whether we want to acknowledge it or not, or whether my colleagues in the demographic, colleagues, whatever, compatriots, whatever.
There you go. I keep throwing things out there.
Yeah.
You're like, they're not my friends, but
Yeah.
we're of the same thing.
My fellow demographicers,
Yes.
whether we want to acknowledge it or not, we are slowly dying out. And younger generations of riders, they don't want big, heavy cruisers. They want something more nimble. And quite frankly, not everyone can afford the price tag that's associated with a bigger cruiser. If you want to get into biking, motorcycling, you can do it very easily with some of the European and some of the Japanese brands for $3,000-$4,000 versus trying to lay out 25, 30, and Harley and Indian both now have limited edition models that are over the $40,000 mark.
Yeah.
And that I didn't pay. I didn't even pay half that for this bike that I have now, and like there's no way I would pay that for one of those. And it's like that almost gives me an aneurysm. But I don't begrudge the people who want those because if you've earned the money, it's your money. Do with it what you want,
Right.
And you ride what you want, enjoy what you ride. And so I would never look down on someone for spending whatever they spent on any kind of bike. It's because, and this kind of ties in with why I ride, it's like we only have so much time. So just enjoy the ride.
Right. Yeah, and it is always weird to see people yuck someone's yum. Where it's
Right.
like, look, you're different people. You want different things,
Yeah.
know. But inevitably, with almost any kind of thing, there has to be a point where it's like my team's better than your team, and it's like, all right, man, cool.
Yeah.
I guess sort of. I mean, there's some stuff I'm like that with, but like that's very infamous in the video game world. Like there was a time where it was like you were either PlayStation or Xbox. There was no in between. You were on this team or this team. And even during then, I was like, well, I have the Xbox, but I still want to have a PlayStation. I still want to spend the money to get it because I'm interested in more games on the Xbox. Like I never got into that tribal mindset of like, I have the best thing. Fuck that guy.
Right. It's like, well, do you work for Harley Davidson? Because then I can see the brand loyalty. It's, Ford versus Chevy, Dodge, whatever.
Right.
But it's just ride what you like. And you're right. It can be very tribal. I've seen it. I worked as a service manager at a Harley Davidson dealership years ago. And I was aware of it before, and I was extremely cognizant of it once I started working there.
Yeah, it is an American brand that some people just completely fall in love with. It's as far as like the number of T-shirts and jackets and hats and just any article of clothing you can think of you can buy, or just things that have a Harley Davidson logo on it. It is insane how much merchandise that company has.
And I'm guilty of buying the T-shirts. There was a time where I was getting a hold of friends online, like, hey, I live in Seattle. Great, can you get me a Harley T-shirt from the Seattle dealership? Because I want to collect all the...
My dad had hundreds of them.
Yeah. So those are going to be made into a quilt at some point.
Wait, can you kind of explain like what this is? Because we both know what it is, but can you kind of explain to the listener like what the deal is with collecting Harley T-shirts?
Right. So it's sort of like, how you go on vacation and you buy a shot glass from Bermuda, then you go to, I don't know, Key West, and you buy a shot glass there.
Daytona Beach shot glass.
Yeah, it's that kind of mindset where you're buying a memento of where you've traveled. And the Harley T-shirt thing, and I'm sure this is true of other interests. It's a sort of like a ribbon. Like if you're a military, you get a medal, you get a little ribbon on your. I think that's called the ribbon stack. Military people don't hate me because I get it wrong, but having a T-shirt from a very far place or an exotic location, it gives you a little bit of riding cred. Like, oh my God, that guy rode all the way out to California and he got the shirt. It's like, no, I didn't ride to California. I know somebody in California. They bought the shirt. mailed it to me. But I'll let you think I rode all the way out there. But yeah, it's like a badge of honor to have the exotic or different type shirts. It's, you know what? It's very similar to having concert T-shirts that nobody else went to,
Yeah.
but you went to.
Yeah, and I think that perfectly nails it on the head right there. Is that it is very much like concert T-shirt kind of thing, where it's like it's cool status cred. If you're inside the community of people, you know what that is, and it's like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also appreciate the fact that they always had like different graphics for the different shops. I think that's really neat. The fact that like you get an actual unique one of a kind thing. It's not just like everybody's just like it's an eagle. It's like, well, yeah, there's a lot of eagles, but you get it in all these different styles and things like. And two, it's incredible that very often you don't find ones that look alike.
No, so I found out that I don't know if Harley still does this. I believe Indian still does this. Let's say you're Albuquerque Harley Davidson, and you've got 3 or 4 iconic buildings in town. So you contact Harley Davidson corporate, their merchandising people, and say, hey, we want to feature building A or building whatever. So they research it. Their design team does their shirts for you.
Oh,
You
that's
don't-
cool.
Yeah, but if you're Albuquerque Harley Davidson, like, well, we'd like to support a local artist.
Right.
No, you're gonna buy it from Harley's design team.
Yeah.
I think Indian does it the same way, and I wouldn't be surprised if Honda, Suzuki, Kawasaki, and all the other dealerships do. And I understand doing it from a quality control and a uniformity type thing.
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm with you in the fact that if you could get like a cool screen printer to do it locally, that'd be great. You could have that relationship and give them some business, and it just helps everybody else out. But then the reality of it is, Harley Davidson is like, we own this thing,
Right.
and it will be done with inside of our brand and everything that we decide to do with the brand.
Yeah, and you mentioned so much merchandise out there. You go to a Harley Davidson, and this isn't a slag on Harley at all. You go to their dealerships, and I think Indian dealerships are becoming this way. And I know some of the Honda and Yamaha race type dealerships are this way. All the merchandise, all the hats, all the dog clothes, all the baby clothes, the keychains, whatever, the calendars. And I can't remember if it was the guys from Metallica or the guys from AC/DC who said this. We are a t-shirt company that uses live music to sell product.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's a very realistic way of looking at it from a business perspective.
Yeah, and so again, it's not slamming Harley Davidson, but I can't remember the statistic. I can't remember if it's like half or a solid third of all their revenue is generated by merchandise sales.
Yeah.
So they're a apparel company, a lifestyle apparel company.
Yes.
That utilizes motorcycles to help sell their brand.
Yeah.
And they do it, and they do a great job of it.
It goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Because you can only buy the bike you can't buy a lot of bikes. Normal people, you get a bike and then you hang on to that bike for a while for your training for another bike. I mean, it's not like it's a thing where it's like, Reginald, bring the checkbook. We are
Right.
going to buy another bike today.
We're not all Jay Leno.
Yeah. No doubt. Yeah. Yeah. There's not too many Jay Leno garages out there.
Yeah.
All right. What about, let's go do this. Is there anything that we didn't talk about tonight you wanted to talk about? Is there anything we missed in the world of being on bikes?
I don't think so. They filmed the Bike Riders movie.
I'm
here
stoked
in
about that. It looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you get to see anything from it, or have you just like seen the preview? Like what's it like?
Well, they filmed it here in what year is this? Is this 24? Yeah.
Yeah, 2024.
They filmed it here in Cincinnati in 22, and I was very fortunate when I side story. So they put out this call. They wanted background extras that could ride motorcycles, and I thought, why not? So I sent them my information. They sent me the information of where to show up for the audition. It's a riding audition, and the first advertisement that I saw for it, there was verbiage on the screen that said, if you're selected, motorcycles will be provided for you to ride in the movie.
Okay.
And so I get to the writing audition, and I write the Indian, and the one of the stunt coordinators who's doing the writing test. I was the first guy there. He's just smiling, kind of laughing at me, and he's like, "Do you got anything that's old?" I'm like, "Oh, I got something that from '84." He's like, "No, it has to be from like the '60s or maybe the '70s because it had to be period correct."
Right.
And so, come to find out, there was a mistake. They were not supposed to say bikes would be provided for you.
Oh,
You-
great.
You got to provide your own period correct bike.
If you want to be in the movie, you
Yeah.
gotta show up with a bike from the '60s.
Right, yeah.
What the fuck?
Well, there are classic motorcycle clubs around town, so there were plenty of those guys who showed up with period correct bikes, and they got a lot of screen time and riding time. He's like, "But you know what? Hey, go ahead and let's do the road test anyway. Drive through these cones, do a big loop, come back." So I did it. He's like, "Yeah, you can ride, okay." And he's like, "But if you don't have a period correct bike, you won't do any of the riding. They use you as a background extra."
Okay.
I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine. I don't care. I just want to see how the sausage is made."
Yeah,
you
I just
know?
want to hang out.
Right. So I did that. And originally, I was only supposed to do it like 5 or 6 days.
Yeah.
I ended up doing 2 weeks worth of shooting with them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I don't know if I'll get any screen time because when I say shooting, I was like on a hill far away, like so far away I couldn't even see the camera.
Hey, man, that's what we got 4K TVs for. We can,
Right.
we can get in there.
See that blob looking right at the camera? That's me.
That's me. That's me. The guy with the beard, white guy with the beard, that's me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The guy with the leather jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah. So, but that was really cool seeing how the sausage is made, so to speak. Being able to meet the stars, Jodie Comer, Austin Butler, Tom Hardy, what's his name? Boyd.
Oh, Walton Goggins.
No, he was in Narcos.
I do
Boyd
not.
Holbrook.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And they were all cool. Michael Shannon was in it. So that was a really cool experience. But the only footage I've seen, back to your question, are the 2 trailers that are out.
Yeah, that's what I saw too.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it looks cool. It looks like, kind of reminds me of like a Scorsese movie, but instead of being about the mafia, it's about this bike gang. And also the time period, then it makes it look really cool.
yeah, it's definitely, I think, and we'll see when we see it, but I think it really focuses on the time period, the development of the relationship between the characters and the evolution of those relationships as the changes in the bike club happen
Yeah.
over the time period that it's set in.
Yeah.
But I do think I like the first trailer because I was able to spot myself in it.
Nice.
Yeah, I like that blurry guy. That's me.
That's me.
Yeah,
I'm right there.
Yeah, freeze frame. But the second trailer I thought did a great job of really showing more of what the story is about.
Yeah, and I recently saw it, and I was like, "Oh shit, this looks really cool!" Like getting
Yeah.
to see it. 'Cause you're right. The first one's just kind of like, "Look, it's hot guys riding around on bikes." It's like, all right, man, I don't know if I really want to see this.
Yeah, that's Thursday night.
Yeah, and and then you get the second one where it's like the 2 minute long one. It's like, oh shit, there's a story here. And then I'm also interested in this because there's a song, the band Lucero, they have a song called "The Bike Riders," and it's all about these guys that are bikers. And one of the lyrics is Benny starts his bike way up the hill, and then in the thing for the bike riders, one of the characters' name is Benny.
Right.
And I'm like, is this from a book or something? Like, how did they both do this? Because there's no way that I don't know, it's got to be connected somehow.
Yeah. So Benny is Austin Butler's character's name.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know if they were contacted like, hey, we want you to do a song for the movie, because I don't know what all is included in the soundtrack.
Yeah, and that song came out like over 10 years ago, definitely 10 to 15 years ago.
Yeah, and, Jeff Nichols, he may have heard it. So the movie is based on the book by Danny Lyon, and it's a photojournalistic documentation of the Outlaws Motorcycle Club from its inception through his time in the club. And Jeff Nichols has taken that book and created the script and the story of the bike riders.
Okay, cool.
So it's inspired. I think that's what the actual credits say, inspired by the book by Danny Lyon.
Okay.
So it's possible Jeff Nichols may have heard that song and said, I'm going to name my main character Benny.
Yeah, interesting. Well, to the internet after this.
Right.
We'll get some answers. Yeah. Well, look, man. Before we get out of here, I want to talk about this. So recently, you scheme. You're a schemer. I
Yeah.
know you. You're
Yeah.
you're like my wife. You got harebrained ideas, and you're like you call me up and you're like, "Hey, man, what's going on?" I'm like, "Not much." You're like, "Think about getting a bike garage." Like what? Like what? How? Why did this happen?
So, different reasons came together to make it happen. Where I live, I don't have a shed or a garage for the bike. So if I want to work on it, I'm doing it in the driveway. And it's not convenient. The other part of it really started last summer. There was a garage out in California called Moto Republic. And they announced that they had to close. Rent was increased. I think some other issues basically forced the owner to shut down because of pricing. And so he's, as I understand it, still looking right now for another location to reopen the garage. But it's a community motorcycle garage. And the concept there, and anyone who's been in the military knows exactly what this is. It's like a hobby shop where the tools and the facilities are provided, and you pay for your own supplies and you rent the bays out and work on your cars or trucks. So that's the military version. The community bike garage is basically the same thing. The bike lifts, the tools, they're provided, and you either pay by the day, the week, month, whatever it is, your membership, and you work on your bike and have storage available. So when they announced they were having issues, I was kicking around with some friends, just riding, at a stop, like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we had one of those here? And I kind of made the offhanded comment, well, maybe I should open one up. And I really didn't think anything else about it at that time. And then it kind of stuck in the craw, and it started talking to me a little bit. And so I started researching it and find out, okay, there's Skidmark Garage up in Cleveland. They're a community motorcycle garage. There's a guy in Dayton named KT. He opened one up last August. There's one up in Milwaukee, Create Milwaukee. So it's not a unique thing in the motorcycle world. And there are probably a dozen to maybe 2 dozen across the U.S. So the more I looked into it, the more I started running my mouth, talking to friends about it. Like, hey, wouldn't it be a cool thing? And then people started sending me messages like, hey, I heard you're talking about maybe doing a bike garage or a community garage. So it kind of snowballed. And I decided, well, maybe I should see how viable is this.
I mean, this makes sense on a lot of levels as we're talking about this. We talked about the shift earlier of younger generations not being into cruisers, being into other bikes. And I think this is also a byproduct of more people living in cities now and being in situations where like they're in an apartment or they're in a condo. Like they don't have a spot to fit a bike, or they're in a situation like people are like, yeah, I got a house, but I don't have a garage. Like it's just people that don't have the space they need. And it's like, well, there's a way we can solve this problem, and you can work on your shit, and you also get the benefit of hanging out with cool people that are in the same thing you are.
Right. It's there's definitely a need for it. One of the challenges that all motorcycle dealerships deal with is retaining qualified technicians. And I pulled some research from the Department of Labor, and in the Cincinnati region, there are only 70 motorcycle mechanics. Now that doesn't include the independent, self-employed guys, and I'm sure their stats are off by a few. But having worked at a dealership, it is not uncommon for a dealership to poach a good technician from another dealership.
Really?
Either better pay, better benefits, whatever it is. And trying to get a bike serviced can sometimes, well, get you in 2 months.
What?
There aren't enough qualified people to work on bikes.
Wow.
And there are over 65,000 registered motorcycles in our region.
Okay.
If that 70 number is low, let's call it 100.
So you're treating this like the hospital. You're only going there if you absolutely have to.
Yeah, or if you have a warranty issue or something. But a lot of people don't know how to change their own oil on bikes. And it's not a hard thing to do. But it's getting over that, going back to your question about intimidation on riding. If you're not mechanical and you've never done this before, why would you start doing it just out of the blue? But if you had a place where you could go and learn, and you had qualified people showing you and assisting you along the way. Now, instead of waiting 2 months to get your oil changed, and in all fairness, though, to dealerships, if you rolled up on a Saturday morning, said, I need an oil change, they would get you in. That's an easy one for them. But that kind of a thing, if you can get your bike serviced sooner, your riding, your machine is kept up to date, it's maintained properly, it's safer to ride that way. I just changed my tire on my bike yesterday in my driveway. I had to wait for a warm day to do it. Now, I've had something in my tire for 2 weeks, but haven't had the opportunity. And I got done. I told Jen, man, this probably would have gone a lot quicker if somebody had a place where I could do this. So, yeah, I think there's a need for it. It's not a high profit business model. And doing the research, I've seen several that have closed. So, I think I answered the question.
Yeah, man. No, I think it's one of those deals where like it is a community space. Like you're trying to fill a need if something needs to be done, and at the same time, it's a thing where it's a passion more than a profit. Like you're like, look, I want to use this because it's gonna make my quality of life better, but I also recognize it'll make other people's quality of life better. And again, like we talked about earlier with like in roller derby, where you made friends with the people you were around because you had that common interest and you were there that often. If you have a space like this, obviously friendships are going to start to happen between people.
Right. It's, birds of a feather kind of a thing. Yeah, I mentioned going down to Rabbit Hash. Every time I go to Rabbit Hash, I make new friends. I meet people I haven't met before. We talk about bikes. Well, what are you riding? Oh, I'm riding this. How long you had that? Well, I've had this one 20 years. I've had this one 20 days kind of thing. And it's like, okay, well, see you later. Ride safe, So there's that built-in camaraderie there.
Yeah, I think that is cool that to be able to have that space where that could happen, because then that could turn into more friendships that, come out of that, where like you actually get to know people now.
Right.
Instead of it just being like a one-off, like, hey, how you doing? Have a handshake and, do 15 minutes, now you can hang out with these folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a whole new network of friends.
Absolutely. 100%. When do you think this thing's going to happen? Like, is it something you're trying to make actively happen now, or are you waiting for the right place at the right time?
Well, so I mentioned being captain overzealous earlier,
Yeah.
and being a financial advisor is keeping captains overzealous in check and saying, okay, so many of these have gone out of business. Why have they gone out? What's the business model? What do the numbers look like? Captain overzealous wants it done yesterday. We should just do this,
Right.
I'll sign the lease. Or buy a building. I really didn't think that I would do anything with it this year at all. I thought 24 would just be, I'll kick it around, I'll talk about it, let it be just something I think about, romanticize a little bit.
Yeah. How cool would this be if this happened?
Right. That my friend's like, every time we stop, you talk about that stupid thing, and then just, I set up a survey, sending out to different groups, and I've had 400 plus responses on it. And the feedback and the fact that I keep getting messages, people wanting to know about it. So I started scouting out spaces about a month and a half, 2 months ago. A lot of them disqualified just on price alone immediately.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of them are too nice. It's like, oh my God, this is a really nice building. And what I really need is a warehouse because we're going to be working on bikes. But I found a few. And a couple of them, if the owners and I can work out some of the follow-up items, it wouldn't be unreasonable that I could launch April or May.
Holy shit.
But everything has to come together.
Yeah.
It has to line up. And it's not just because I want it doesn't mean I'm going to make it happen just for that one. It cannot be a vanity project. It has to be more than just a labor of love. It cannot impede my ability to provide for myself.
Man, that is some real shit right there. Where you're like, look, I realize that I want this thing, but I have to be realistic about this thing, so this thing doesn't kill me.
Right.
Yeah.
And I rode 17,000 miles on the bike last year. That's the most I've ever ridden in a year. And I know if I do this, it's going to cut into that. It's like, okay, that's my mental health time. It's my relaxed, calm down, enjoy lifetime. And then the danger of don't turn something you love into a job that you end
Yes.
up hating.
Yes.
It's like, okay. And so I've got to think about that. It's not just, oh, cool, I open up a garage and some riders hang out and we swap lies and bullshit about bikes, because it's still a business and you have to run it like a business.
Yeah.
You still have to deal with the business side of it. And I also don't want it to be like bike night at your local bar,
Yeah.
where, not slagging the Harley lifestyle, but you talk about bike night, and a lot of people get that picture of guys my age riding their Harleys, you know, 2-3 times a year, and if you can read this, the bitch fell off type T-shirts. It's like, that's not what I want. This is going to be open to everyone. All are welcome who would welcome all. I want women riders to come in, work on their bikes. I want people from the LGBTQ community to come in and work on their bikes. They're seen, they are welcome, they are part of the community. That's what I want. And so I want to be protective of that and not just turn it into some biker clubhouse.
Yeah, I think that is part of when you facilitate the thing. Like, you also have to have rules, and man, that sucks when people come in and like do something dumb, and you're like, "Hey, man, like, come on, what are you
Right.
doing? Like, do you not understand why what you're doing is a bad idea right now? I can't believe we're having this conversation. We have to have it, but it's true. Like, there are people that just don't get shit.
Yeah. And inadvertently that's going to happen sooner or later. So I think if I can accept that, like, first time it happens, okay, it happened finally, broke the cherry on the bed thing happening. But it doesn't mean it's going to happen with everyone all the time.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Well, again, I wish you good luck with this. I think it sounds like a really cool thing, and I'm really excited to see what it does for you and bikers in general throughout the tri-state. Like, I
Yeah.
think this is I think what you're doing is a very positive, cool thing, and I wish you great success.
I appreciate it, and I'll keep you posted.
Cool, man. Well, hey, before we get out of here, let the people know where they can find you out online.
So on Twitter, I'm at Captain Gorgeous.
Are you on Twitter? How often are you on Twitter?
Not often.
You know what? You know how I know you're not on Twitter?
'Cause I said Twitter?
instead of X. Dude, I avoid that website with my entire being. Like, even before the Elon thing, I've just always hated Twitter. I don't want to go on there. I don't want to argue with people. I don't want to hear people yell at each other.
Honestly, when I go on Twitter, it's to post something, not read.
Yeah, when I go on, well, now I don't even have it on my phone because you have to sign up to have it. So like, I can't even see shit that gets posted on X. But unless it's like through Reddit or something where somebody's reposted it. But I think Twitter is great for breaking news, and I think it's great for, it can be used to connect people. But like, if anything happens in an area, like I hear a rumbling of anything, Twitter was my spot where I would go first, just to like search by hashtag and just try to figure out like what's actually going on the ground. Because sometimes you would like see videos of shit, or people would like live report and all that, and it's like, this is cool that the instant access you have to news now. But yeah, on the flip of it, just the day-to-day culture war bullshit that happens on Twitter. I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't be here for this. This is just people screaming at each other, and I don't want any part of this.
Yeah, I have no tolerance for that. It's like, hey, I'm going to go ride. I'm going to post about something.
Yeah.
But for the band, it's theeverydaypeopleband.com, or Instagram, it's at theeverydaypeopleband.
Nice, man. Yeah, and if you see the Everyday People Band anywhere, like an advertisement for them, or if they're in your local area, go see them. It's a fun time. It's a great time. You guys are great. It's an awesome show. Yeah, thumbs up from me. You know where to find me out online. At Neil to No One is my Instagram. Linktree is there. You can find everything else you want to find from that point forward. Hey, second Tuesdays of the month, we're doing vinyl and live art night at Listerman Brewing Company. Come out, check it out. We just got done last night with the electronic genre that we did. April is Jazz Cabbage, so bring out all your favorite smoky doom metal stoner bands, hip hop, reggae, and come celebrate Jazz Cabbage with us. Lee, dude, thank you so much for doing the show. Appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me back.
And listener, peace.